everybody. You have tuned in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, First Sergeant Rich Myers with the Indiana State Police Public Information Office. We want to thank the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids for their continued support. And, of course, our behind-the-scenes guy, Tom Trial. Wave at the camera, Tom. Good job. Thank you very much. Puts us on YouTube each and every week for the Indiana State Police. I have a guest here today that has been on with me before, but it's been a little while, hasn't it, John?
It has. It's good to be back.
John Erickson, who's the Director of Public Information for the Department of Homeland Security, is with me today. And we're going to talk about some things that are probably going to be behind the scenes, but maybe notice here that's coming up in the near future. And that's going to be some activities that's going to be going on with fall festivals throughout Indiana. And that's going to be hitting us up here sooner than we think. I mean, when we're taping this, which is not going to be at the time that you're going to be hearing it, but they're calling for a little bit of chance of snow, so probably people aren't thinking about outside activities, but it's going to be coming up. And you guys are going to be involved.
Absolutely. We are. And people sometimes get confused. Why is Homeland Security involved in festivals, special events? Well, it's about security. It's about people thinking about safety. Some parts of this that we're going to talk about deal with amusement rides, and that sometimes gets people confused. But the fire marshal and his people out in the field are part of Indiana Department of Homeland Security, and they do amusement ride inspections. So there are all types of facets to safety at public events. There are we like to let people know, first of all, we want you to go out and have a good time. We want you to do the things that you normally do. If you go to the fair, if you go to a spring festival, any type of event that you normally go to, we encourage you to do that. We, in my family, we're not going to be doing anything different than what we normally do. We're going to go to the county fair. We're going to be doing the events and festivals that we normally do. That's up to each individual family, what they want to do. But if you decide to go to those events, there are some things you need to think about. First is, what's the weather going to be like? Is it going to be hot? Do you need to bring extra water for kids or for yourself? You need to talk to kids a little bit about the importance of sticking close and have a plan if you're going to split up, if you've got teenagers. Pick a place to meet, set a time, and get back together. Make sure that everybody knows cell phone numbers. When we have friends with us, we make sure that we have the friends' cell phone numbers as well as our kids so that we can get a hold of them in case our kids aren't hearing the text notifications or aren't answering the phone because they're on a loud or near a loud ride. We just like a lot of options to be able to touch base with everybody who's in our group.
And you were talking about the weather and your cell phone. That's probably a good idea to have an app on there that would alert you if inclement weather is approaching, that you would be able to take shelter or know where to go.
You're exactly right, and that's a great thing to bring up. Yeah, apps are a great source of information. You certainly want to check the weather before you go out, but stay apprised of developing weather conditions, and an app is a great way to do that. There are a lot of them out there, and they provide a lot of really good information.
And you guys, I know, are having something that you're kick off to, a public service campaign that's called Ready Whenever, Wherever.
Right.
What exactly does that entail?
Well, and it's basically letting people know that they need to be aware of their surroundings. Whatever venue they're going to, an outdoor venue, even going to a movie or a play, a larger indoor venue, such as a basketball facility, something like that. What you want to be aware of is, first of all, where are the exits?
Yeah.
You want to be able to get out as quickly as possible. You want to do it in an orderly fashion, but you want to know where you're going. Talk to the kids a little bit to the level that you're able to and comfortable with talking to them. You want to make sure that they know that you may have to hold hands and move through the crowd, and there may be people bumping into them. Mm-hmm. It can get a little bit scary, even if you're evacuating or moving for a reason that's very calm.
Right.
It can get a little scary, especially for younger children. You want to just get them ready for that.
And we were talking earlier about weather, and if you're at an event, and probably a good thing to discuss with your kids if inclement weather happens and you're not with us, to know what kind of structure to go into to stay safe. Don't go into this tent that's put up, but actually find a big structure that's permanent.
Exactly. Find a structure that's stronger. The other thing is talk to people who are running the event. They'll usually have bright colored vests that will usually identify someone who will be able to help you quickly. But again, put them in that mindset of thinking about what they would do if certain situations happen. We don't want people to freak out, but we want them to think ahead and be prepared so that they're ready. So, because if you practice even in your mind what you're going to do, you're going to do better in those situations.
You're going to have that option on what to do and how to do it correctly and not panic at that last minute.
Absolutely.
And I know you guys have even, we're talking about small affairs, festivals, your hometown county fairs and events, but you guys have a big footprint, even like the Indianapolis 500. You guys are there to help people out and to assist other local safety and entities that are there to give information on what's happening and watching the weather and that type of thing also.
Yeah, absolutely. We try to be a partner and provide information as well, along with you at the state police, local public safety, whether it's the fire department, law enforcement, emergency management. We certainly want to work with them and be a resource. We provide a lot of messaging so that locals can use that. We certainly don't want to do that in place of locals putting out their messaging because they know best what the conditions are in their area, but we want to do the best that we can to help them.
Well, let's talk a little bit. We were talking about amusement rides and what you guys do with that. Is that just permanent structures that are here, or do you guys check each and every road, like a county fair would come in and the roadies come in and set them up? Do you guys have to check those also?
We check each and every ride that comes into Indiana at least once a year. And if it does not have an Indiana Department of Homeland Security sticker on it, then you need to call us and you need to let us know about that information so that we can get an inspector out there and we can help as far as getting that ride inspected. And if you send an email to rides@dhs.in.gov, we will be able to get someone out there to assist with that. The local authorities know that we're supposed to be doing those inspections.
Right.
Now, we don't inspect every ride every time it's set up. We inspect it once a year. Our inspectors will come around prior to some fairs. For the state fair, for instance, even though those rides may have been inspected before, we inspect them as they get set up for the state fair because there's a lot of people who come through.
Oh, yeah.
And we have inspectors on site during the entire state fair. But we do like to take a look at those rides each and every year. We talk to the managers about how they're run, how they're maintained. We check training and maintenance records to make sure that they're in good shape. And we actually run the rides and make sure that they're running correctly and within the specifications that the manufacturer sets aside for that.
So do you guys ride them?
We do sometimes.
Do you really?
We do sometimes, yes. And it's a good way to know if it's working correctly.
Yeah.
They will go through an emergency stop on the ride. They test all those parameters to make sure that they're as safe as possible for the public who comes in and rides those.
I didn't know that they would have to do that, but if a roller coaster would stop in the middle, they would have to know what to do, wouldn't they?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's really interesting on how they do that. Now, I know you guys have some child safety tips and some amusement ride tips available also.
Right. And all of those are on getprepared.in.gov. And a few of those are just, first of all, make sure, if you have children, make sure that they're the right size and right age to ride on the ride. Don't try to sneak them in if they're too short.
Yeah.
Because that can create a problem. Give them some initial instructions. Let them know, watch the kids before you get on and off of the ride so that they know what the routine is. They know that the worker is gonna pull that bar down, or they're gonna strap them in, or they're gonna check them in some way. And let them know what they need to do, keeping their hands in. If you have kids who have longer hair, be a good thing to bring a ponytail holder and keep that inside the car because you wouldn't want it to get caught on something. You want to make sure that your child is going to behave correctly on the ride, is going to be able to stay sitting down, and just make sure that they're ready for that ride.
I know a lot of times the kids get so excited, because they're going to be on this ride.
Right.
And they kind of run out there prior to the other kids getting off and things. And so,
Right.
The parents and the workers may have to kind of like herding cats when they're doing it. But that's very important to know, because they don't want to get hurt while they're trying to get on the ride. And that's some good information.
Yeah, and that's a very basic thing. The kids are very excited. They've probably had sugary drinks and sugary snacks.
And cotton candy in their hair.
Right, and they're antsy, and they do want to get on that ride. And it's better if you can just put a hand on their shoulder and help them stay back. And then when the kids have exited and it's safe, let them go and get on the ride in the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah, and they can ride it properly, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have to work with persons with disabilities and rides and things like that, or is that part of you guys?
Well, it's something that certainly the ride operators have to do. What they have to determine is the person going to be appropriate for the ride. They have to stay in a certain posture to be safe.
Okay.
And if they can't maintain that posture due to a type of functional need or other situation, it really needs to be evaluated if they can be on that ride. And that's something very much that each individual person really has to consider before they even approach to think about getting on that ride.
That's good information. Well, again, I'm speaking with John Erickson. He is the Public Information Officer Director for the Department of Homeland Security. And we're talking about several things here today that the Department of Homeland Security deals with, one being the amusement rides and the inspection of those amusement rides as we have the summer season coming up through Indiana. And also just general safety tips for the fall festivals or summer festivals, whatever that have come up through Indiana and that you'll be enjoying this year. We're being brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids. We want to thank them for their continued support of the show. John, I know a lot of times whenever we're at these fall festivals or at these events, people should be wary of their surroundings, but not only for safety of the children and things, but just for maybe some suspicious activity that they might see out there. And I know you guys have a program on that also.
We do, and thanks for bringing that up. You should be aware at all times. I think we all you in law enforcement and us in public safety, we talk about this a lot, but it's a good time to refresh. You want to be on the lookout for, kids who are just up to mischief, up to people who seem agitated, who seem like they may be hiding something. If it's warm and they're wearing a long coat, it looks a little bit suspicious. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with talking to one of the event safety people or talking to security on site and say, this person was acting just a little bit unusual. And no one is going to fault you for that.
Right.
There is that concern. People have that embarrassment factor of, oh, it's not a big deal. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. But it could be a big deal. It could be nothing. And there's nothing wrong with an event organizer or someone else just maybe observing the people for a little bit and maybe asking them a few questions. But the goal is for everyone to have a good time. Safety is everybody's job.
Right.
And that's part of safety. The public has many more eyes and ears than law enforcement and Homeland Security and all of us put together. And if they can help, we certainly appreciate that.
And we want to utilize our eyes and ears because I think what we've told people in the past, and I'm sure you would agree with this, if that doesn't feel right in the pit of your stomach, it's probably not right.
Absolutely correct. If something just doesn't feel right, go talk to somebody about it and let them evaluate it. They may have other information that is going to lead them down a different path than it leads you. They may have, 3 other people that they're looking at, and this fourth person may be that other part of the puzzle that says, okay, we need to do something about this and maybe talk to these people more in depth.
Well, we're down to our last 45 seconds. John, is there a website that people can go to find out more information on this?
The best website is getprepared.in.gov. Okay. That has a host of information about special events and all types of safety tips.
Great. Well, again, I've been speaking with John Erickson. He's the Public Information Officer and Director of the Department of Homeland Security. John, thank you for being here. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much.
Have a great summer.
You too.
You've been listening to The Road Show, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. We want to thank you for listening each and every week and for watching us on the YouTube channel. We'll catch you again next week on The Road Show. The Road Show is out.